Hello and welcome to the World Changemaker podcast, where we have engaging conversations with everyone from entrepreneurs to advocates. I'm your host, Cinnamon Alvarez. Be ready to get inspired because our guest today is going to share their story, insights, and golden nuggets with us about how they're making a meaningful difference in people's lives and in our communities. If you like what you hear today, subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. And while you're there, leave us a review. Hello. My name is Cinnamon. I am a co-founder of World Changemaker, and we are joined with Amy today. She is by far one of my favorite people, world change makers of all time. So Amy, I want to start first by letting you, if you don't mind, introduce yourself to our audience. Amy with Hidden Consumers Consulting. And in this introduction, if you don't mind also sharing like what inspired you to be who you say you are for the world right now.
Right. Well, my name is Amy. I own Hidden Consumers Consulting. It's been a brand transition over the last year, but what we really do at heart is our goal is to make grocery shopping safe for everyone. The motivation for me behind all of this is I have severe allergies to corn and corn derivatives. I had to move from my home in Minneapolis to Lake Elsinore, California, because I can't buy groceries in a grocery store. And when I call companies or email companies, they have no idea about the questions I'm asking them because they don't understand how their products are made. So I had to move where I could buy from an organic farmer every week as my grocery store. But even when I go to the top of the best, they're California certified, I still have a list of questions because there's still things that are going to make me sick if I eat the wrong organic food. So my company really came out of that experience. But last year I started writing a book, which is now being rewritten because of my experience this year. And
It
as I
never
would tell
ends. It never ends.
never ends. It just never ends. Eventually, I'm going to have to just send it to the editor. Um, but what happened is I would tell my story and I would talk about how hard it is to grocery shop. And I would get so many stories that didn't involve allergies and how it was difficult for people to shop for groceries. And that's where my book actually started transitioning. It's not just about people with allergies that struggle to buy food. There's an entire hidden consumer market that's not being tapped into. And I picked it up as my passion, and my purpose is how can I make grocery shopping safe for everybody? Nobody else can do it. The companies don't know clearly they don't know what's going into their product. So how can they be transparent about it? And they need someone to guide them down that path to get more money. And
Yeah.
at the same time, let's help the consumer. Like, come on.
Well, and that's what's so great because that's that's why I love business because that's what business is all about is being of service. And I've for a little while now, and you've always been about that. But this
Yep.
is specific because it's personal to you, and this is where you can really make a difference. But you mentioned about like transforming your business model. So
Yeah.
that leads me to the next question that we want to know is how do you define success? And specifically, like how has that definition changed for you over time?
Yeah, so I started my business in 2020. Like I opened right like literally 2 weeks before COVID shut everybody down. So my definition of a success has changed depending on a lot of factors. When I opened, I wanted to be that business analyst. What is the root core of a business problem? How can I come in and fix it? And then COVID happened, and I'm like, okay, let's keep small businesses online and find out how do I can make their websites better. My success was really about how many websites and how many clients could I help and help them grow their business. A successful business was, did I get you more business? Did we get you more traction? Are we getting you found more than you were before? As I transitioned into this, it's become a lot of advocacy work. Um, One of the things I'm actually doing is I'm actually working with watchdog groups out of Washington, D.C. already. And we're having conversations about how do we protect the food safety in America when there's so many things that are making us sick. So for me, success now is really defined on how big of an impact, positive impact can I have on at least the country, if not the world, to really make it safer for everybody to feel comfortable buying food, but so they don't have to take a risk. When I say it's not safe, moms have to buy food for kids and they don't know if it's going to kill their kid. Like, we shouldn't live in a country like that. We shouldn't be so focused on making money that we don't care if a child dies because they ate the wrong peanut. Like, there's just something so inherently wrong with that. And that's my purpose. That's what's driving me. And that's what success looks like.
If we were all so lucky to really know what we're passionate about and be able
Yeah.
to apply that in the work we do, which is really why Desiree, Darlene, and I got together to form World Changemaker anyway. And
Right.
I felt like I almost paid you to say make an impact because that's what it's all about, right? And
Yes.
I have always seen you as an advocate for people anyway. It's just
Yeah.
now you're fine tuning and you're like, this is where there's really a great need that, yeah, from
Yeah.
personal experience. Yeah.
Right. And when you first start your business, you're learning how to run a business, right? Like it might not fully fulfill you, but you've got to learn the basics. What does it take to run a business and how do you stay viable? Once you can fine tune what you're looking for and then you can niche, that's where you're going to find your groove. And
Yeah,
that's
what
where
a
I'm at.
luxury, right? Because I think
Yeah.
that, and even with my own book, we're not even talking about myself, but generating your own happiness. That's
Yeah.
really what it's about, is that sometimes I think we lose sight of that passion and
Yeah.
what we're here for, like if we're a unique gift for the world, because it's hard to run a business. So
Yeah.
do you have anything else to add to that? Like, what do you do to keep going? Right? When business
Find it.
is tough.
But find a group of people that understand and support you, but remind you of why you do what you do.
Mm,
Otherwise, you're going to get stuck in the trenches. And it's really important to have a great group of people around you, even if it's just one person that you reach out to that says, you're doing great. This is why I work with you, or this is why people work with you. And keep that motivation going because you're going to get lost. Like, it's a mental game. Like, I was at a conference in October, and I, for the first time, saw a graph that described entrepreneurship perfectly. It was, we always see the roller coaster graph, right? But the words they put at the down points was like, oh yeah, I just hit that point. Like, you're all excited, you're going up, you're going up. Yes, yes, I'm so glad I opened my business. Yes, yes. And then you're going down. What did I do? And you're just like bawling and crying. And then okay, okay, I remember why I'm doing this. Okay, you hit a higher peak. Okay, yeah, yeah, we're going good. And then you drop and you're like, I'm going to close. I'm done. I never want to run another business in my lifetime. And some people close at that point. But if you keep going up, you keep going up. And can you keep that purpose of why you do what you do to keep you going up and down that roller coaster? Because this is not fun. If you worked retail, you are well trained for this job.
right? Secretly, I used to only hire employees that worked in retail or food service
Yeah,
because I feel like that those industries
they
really
get it.
train people for the grit. Yeah.
It's not just that they don't really train people anymore for the grit, as we've seen in the turnover rates and how terrible corporations treat people. That's a whole nother advocacy thing I'm going to go down one of these days. But it's really that these are the people who are willing to be that pit bull and not let go,
Mm.
right? They get the customer service side. They're going to fight for you just because they know what it's like to go back and work in corporate.
Yeah.
And they're
So
not going to go through
interesting.
that.
Because I really, talking about being an advocate, I think of my superhero as the love advocate. I just want all people to know that the work they do makes a difference in the world. Like I'm
Yeah.
an advocate for dignity
Yes.
and work in general. They're
Yeah.
all stepping stones. They all contribute to what I believe is our overarching goal is to be of contribution to people, you know.
Mhm.
So tell me more about like personal motivation or some of your experience that reaffirms your commitment.
Yeah, for me, it was really, it's every time I talk to a group of people and everybody is like, how can we help you do more? Like the consumers are so behind this that if the companies could understand how fully the general public is tired of their greenwashing crap. I edited myself there.
We're on video.
Yeah. And greenwashing because I know not everybody understands what greenwashing is, but greenwashing is used it's when companies put something on their label like they're gluten-free, but it's not actually gluten-free. They're just using it because the word wheat or gluten isn't actually in their ingredient list that's visible. It doesn't mean they actually are committed to being gluten-free, which is a
Yeah.
whole different, you can be sued over that, but not enough companies are right now. So consumers are tired of that. And there's so many people that are hidden consumers that it's a minimum of 50% of the country, a minimum of 50%. And that's from US Census data. So we've got half the country trying to buy food safely and struggling.
So I just want to re-emphasize so that our listeners really get the value that you're sharing with them right now. So two things. One thing is you're saying that you're reaffirmed to your commitment because the feedback you're receiving is acknowledging that you're on the right track, that you know
Yep.
there's a big need. But what's interesting also when you brought up greenwashing, because I think this is really valuable for people too, actually what we were talking about previously, right, is that we get so bogged down running our business that we are not as in touch with the fulfilling and rewarding piece of it. And so what happens is like it's still necessary, it's still valuable, but it resonates differently because of the motivation behind it. If we're
Yeah.
doing it as a marketing gimmick, it's not genuine. We're not as good at it because it's not coming from the same cause to contribute to the individual
Yeah.
that was originally intended anyway. So it's such a subtle distinction. And I think it happens in
Yeah.
business all the time. So I just
Yeah.
wanted, that was so great that you mentioned that. I wanted to really emphasize that because I am guilty all the time of like, oh, I really want to make a difference in this way, but I don't know if we can afford it. Do we have the time? I did it
Yeah.
sloppy.
Oh, whew, I just put some stuff out this week. Yeah, I get it. I'll perfect it later. I just need to get it up.
So tell me why you'll perfect, tell me on that, because I think that's also really great wisdom to share with people. Why just get it up and perfect it later? What is your intention behind that?
The intention from a marketing perspective is I need people to be aware something's coming up. And I needed to know now, but
Hmm.
I'm not going to fudge and make it so perfect that I don't get the announcement out till a week beforehand. I need time. So
Okay.
let's get it out there and then
And
update with new posts.
what about also how does that contribute to your bigger goal of having an impact in the area that makes a difference to you?
So for me, it's I need to be able to reach as many people as possible. If I put an event together and wait a week, I'm not going to reach that many people. You know, it's all about that outreach. How can I make sure I'm going to make the most impact with the most people who are want that impact, right? Because like the big manufacturers don't care what I do. They're never going to hire me.
Because there are perfectionists who don't want to put out something that is less than perfect.
Perfect.
You're one of my employees listening. I'm not talking about you. But, right? If our goal is to make a profound difference for people,
Yeah.
yeah. What else can you? You've served so many businesses. Is this just me, or is this something that you really see? Like if
No,
you're
it's something I really see. It's across the board. It's when I started out, I thought I had to be everything had to be fine-tuned and dialed in and absolutely perfect. It turns out that if you're going for perfection and forget the purpose behind it, you're going to miss the whole impact. Like you're just so focused on the idea of a look being so good, you forget about what people are actually seeing and reading, and they're not getting that connection. So what I've learned is It doesn't have to be perfect. Now, that does not mean I will not go back and edit my posts, the next day.
There's still a place for our type A personalities.
But I really had to learn that technique of I got it as good as I can now. Is it something I'm willing to share? And then just post it and then go back and make corrections later.
The other thing, and not to take too much time, but the other thing I love about that approach too, of just getting it out, right? You're saying you need to reach as many people as possible. But
Yeah.
if you are a little bit of a perfectionist, which I know both of us can be, it fully commits us. Because
Yeah.
once it's out there, it's like, ooh, it's like jumping off the cliff. You have to pull the parachute. So if you put
Yeah.
it out there in the public domain, you got to do whatever promise you just promised, right? Or you got to go back and clean it up because, oh no, somebody might see it. Like that's actually one of my secrets to make, to doing things that I'm afraid to do otherwise. It's just like,
Yeah.
take a breath and rip the band off, and now I'm committed.
Well,
So,
it's like if you wait a week beforehand, you have the opportunity to cancel. So are you giving yourself an excuse, a way out
oh yeah, I call it the
subconsciously?
sexy excuse. I can find way too many ways to sabotage myself.
Yeah, you got to stop that. Got to stop that.
Yeah, that is my secret is do it while the inspiration is fresh, because otherwise I might talk myself out of it.
Yep. Yep. I was inspired 10 times already today on 10 different topics. I had to write post-it notes because I'm not going to get them all done today. Might not get them done this year since we're nearing the end already.
But so speaking of things getting done, this is going to be our final question for today.
Okay.
What is upcoming right now? What are you excited about that you can share with all of us?
So in January, I'm launching my first consumer webinars. What I'm doing is I'm going to walk consumers through how to read ingredient labels, what to look for. I'm going to talk about greenwashing a little bit more in detail, but I'm going to arm everybody with the information on how to better protect themselves when grocery shopping. The fun part that I am really looking forward to with this webinar is I asked everyone to bring their favorite snack. And if you don't want to learn what's in your favorite snack, bring your second favorite snack. And we'll talk about it. And I'll tell you why, from a corn allergy perspective, I wouldn't. But I would also talk to you about, like, do you have a health concern that you're trying to avoid? Are you trying to avoid sugars? I can show you where all the sugar is in, let's say, a special K bar, because my husband has hit that level of where he has to be careful what he's eating. So he thought, I'll bring home special K bars. Read him the Riot Act. Don't, with his health issues, you
Oh.
can't eat those. So, but why not? Like, they're made. It's a perfect example of greenwashing, in my opinion, or borderline greenwashing. So,
It's so great, Amy. I can't thank you enough for the work that you do and the difference that you make in so many ways. And for meeting with me, we could talk forever, but we're going to cut it loose for our listener, and they'll have to come back to get more good stuff. How's that?
that sounds good. They can find me on LinkedIn. So you can find me all my videos
Oh,
and everything
yes, yes,
there.
yes. So tell us your handle. Where can they find you? LinkedIn,
It's Amy Graves, Hidden Consumers. I think it's Hidden Consumers. It might be Hidden Consumers called Consulting, but it's one of those. Find
Amy
me on LinkedIn.
Graves. Yep, with
Mhm.
Hidden Consumer Consulting. Thank you so much, Amy. Love you so much.
Yeah. Love you too. Thank you so much. This was so much fun.